Hi, all. Today I want to talk about this book of wisdom which teaches you common sense. And we all know that common sense is not that common. And this book teaches you in the easiest manner possible, in the most enjoyable way. And quite a lot of times, the book is really very humorous. Now, before I begin about Panchatantra, analyzing its characters, how it is relevant to the current world, does it require any recalibration? I would like to talk about two things which have quite, probably not very negative ways, but definitely have harmed a little bit of Panchatantra. You may agree to disagree with me, but still I feel that that probably may have harmed this masterpiece of the literature, the Indian literature. I want to talk about this thing. One thing is that when I look at it, Panchatantra has been translated into different languages, which is a positive thing. At the face of it, it is a positive thing. But it has been translated into so many languages that the originality in that has been diverted or became branched out to so many different cultures to fit some culture. It has so many versions, and now there may be original work. There may be something called a work which has some originality in it. Original Sanskrit is still available in Amazon, but what I feel is that it has little bit of harmed Panchatantra if I want to really go deeper into understanding where the original work is. Like for example, for Ramayana we have Valmiki Ramayana, which is the original text. Though there are some editions called Prakshiptas in Ramayana, but still we have this original text which tells you that okay, there are quite a lot of ways this story has been rendered, but the original is Valmiki Ramayana. Similarly happens with Vyasa Bharata, right? Now, but with Panchatantra, still there is a confusion on which is the original version. We do have a lot of, proper poetic version of this, but still, uh, translations in a way has taken this literature, this piece of literature, which Middle Eastern people, those civilizations thought probably they were relevant to their own culture, and they tried to imbibe that in their own culture. But still, for whatever reason, because stories are really very interesting in Panchatantra. The second thing which has happened is that it has been trivialized a lot. It is still stereotyped as uh, children's story book, and relevant only for children, probably. Maybe because an animal talks in this story, maybe because of that, maybe because of different supernatural things happening there, but still they are trivialized to be stereotyped to be children's stories. And when I talk about Panchatantra, and when I go ahead and just look at YouTube, just search for Panchatantra, for example. I am searching here just for Panchatantra, right? Now, what is coming? This movie where Kamal Hassan has acted. There are some books which, I mean, there are some stories in the cartoon stories. Agreed. I mean, these cartoon stories may be relevant for children, but the stereotype is that that is only for children, and that is something which I disagree with. Panchatantra is not about children. One sincere attempt which has been done by someone, which comes at the end of this story is, see this one, right? This one by Project Sivoham, and he has done a great job of explaining where Panchatantra has originated, and probably if you want to look at the history and where and all it has been translated and gone to different places, this is a very good video. You can watch this, and when we go to it, I believe that because it is translated into so many different versions, there is a confusion in versions. And second thing is that stereotype which is there, that it is only for children, that is also one of the things, right? So when probably people were asking me when I uploaded my last video which talked about stories, and it was quite interesting, I believe, and people actually asked me, we are curious about what you are going to do next, and I'm wondering now that if they feel that do they feel that if I talk about Panchatantra, would it be cool, right? So that cool is something which it has sort of lost at this point in time, which is something which I really want people to understand, that these stories are not for children. These can be translated, or they can be applied in the current scenarios as well, and that's something which I will try to explore in this video and subsequent videos, because I am going to deal with this topic for a long time, right? So that's these are two things which I really want to break this stereotype. I don't know if I will be successful. If this video goes viral, probably that might get successful. If this becomes, and that other video becomes the two only top searches in YouTube, then I would consider this as a success, that stereotype has been broke, because Panchatantra is for adults. It is not for children. It may be rendered in a manner that children could understand, and reason for which I'll tell you now, why it has been told in such an easy manner. But every story in there deals with very serious and very relevant situations which happen in the current world till now. There may be some recalibration required, but definitely the origin remains same, and the context remains same. So if we apply all these, I would call them morals, because they are called morals, but I would call them the tips to apply it in your own life, right? So that is something which is very important, and for that I really like Panchatantra, right? Now let's go ahead, let's move forward. I would like to talk about two things here. The style of writing. One style of writing everyone knows, that probably most of the people who have read Panchatantra or listened about Panchatantra, is that it has this loop in the loop in the loop, and kind of stories. Like for example, you have story within a story within a story, and that's something which everyone knows. The style of writing which I really observed in the ancient Indian texts versus Panchatantra, that was something which was clearly written, that so so Ramayana, while it is written by Valmiki, in the first few uh, chapters, you would see that Valmiki as a character appearing, and what motivated him to write Ramayana, and it was rendered by Lava and Kusa, and both of them are mentioned in the original Valmiki Ramayana text. So in a way, you will feel like, yeah, they are talking about, Valmiki is writing about himself. Valmiki is asking Lava and Kusa to render. So where did Valmiki write? And that confusion is there in Mahabharata as well, because uh, it is said to be dictated by Vyasa and written by Ganesha, and then probably narrated by Vyasa himself. Right, so all these things are there in Mahabharata as well. All the Puranas are written by Vyasa, but narrated by Suta to Saunakadi rishis. And similarly, Panchatantra. In the first beginning, again, as I said, there are some additions, or in the original, I mean, so-called original text, I would say that there is this story on how this all started. Why there is a need to write such a unique book which talks about animals talking, getting into situations where um, uh, you know they have to come out of it purely with common sense, or purely with some sort of what and giving us a story that what should we do and what we should not do, something like that. So in a way, how did it all happen? Because Vishnu Sharma narrated his story to three princes of Mahilaropya, and that was the story of the story, which is written in the text which I am having right now with me, with Panchatantra. So I wouldn't call it original text. Now there are, again, the text which I am having are having 81 stories, and the video which I showed you in the beginning, right, Project Sivoham. So he says that he has 85 stories. Then again, that reminds me that, yeah, I probably lost those four stories, and stories mean a lot to me. So yeah, so I'm sad about it. So let's go ahead now. Let's go to the classic. Once upon a time there lived a king, right? So this was a great king called Amar Shakti. And again, the name might differ in different texts, but in the book which I am reading, his name was Amar Shakti. Now the king was a great king. He was ruling his world with quite competence, and he was a very competent king, praised by everyone and anyone around him. And that king actually was praised so much that people thought that he is never someone who can do any mistake, and people loved him. People like him, kings like him. When a king is loved by the people around him and the public which he is ruling, that means king is a real good king, right? Great king. Now he had a very good taste for literature. He has very good taste for niti shastras and everything. So that so in a way the king was a very competent king. Now such a king having such a great competence has three problems, and three problems were their sons: Ugra Shakti, Bhushakti, and Ananta Shakti. And all these three people were A1 idiots. Like they were A plus idiots. Like if you have a course in idiocy, they are the ones who will rule the roost there. Like they were the first, not even first, second, third. They were the first. Now, king being king, he used to love their sons, and loving their sons is definitely okay. I love my son, right? How much ever spoiled he may be, but I have my love for him always. Now, because of that or for some other reason, they were, I mean, probably because their names were like Ugra Shakti, Bahushakti, and Ananta Shakti, like their power had no limits, that they were ruling, people like that, and they were doing all sorts of mischievous things, and controlling them was becoming a very big problem for them. And at that point in time, he became so sad that he said that at one point in time he said that Ajata Murkhabhyam Mrutajatau Sutau Varam Yatah Tau Swalpa Dukhaya Yava Jivam Jado Dahet. So he was becoming so sad that at one point in time he thought that if I don't have a kid, I would have been sad that, yeah, I don't have a kid. I mean, probably at that point in time, I would have thought, okay, I don't have a kid. But, uh, you know, if the if my son dies, like, you will have sadness for some time, probably 1 years, 2 years, 3 years. But if your son is incompetent and doing all sorts of nonsensical things which are harming people, harming everyone around him, then that is the biggest problem. And this he told to his ministers, said that, yeah, simply that, see, this is the problem. I am facing three problems. None of them are competent. And because we don't have a democracy, I feel that they, do something about it. And the problem with them was that they had teachers, they had people who were teaching them, they were coming and going, but the problem was that uh, nobody was able to control them because of Ugra Shakti, Bhaushakti, Anant Shakti, right? So they were like most powerful people. So everyone was very afraid of them and not very happy with him. And at that point, he became very sad and spoke to his ministers, his friends, his philosophers and guides, like whoever were around him. And the people who were around them, practically speaking, they were thinking that yes, this king which we are with him, and he is ruling, he's the most competent king in like past few years, uh, so competent that we were not able to make any decisions. Like, we as ministers should have some say in decisions. We are not doing that. We Everything was taken care of by kings. But so we have to ensure that probably these three people, these three sons, they should become little bit incompetent. And that was the reason probably why they were taught by some incompetent teachers or whatever happened, or probably they however way they got spoiled by these ministers or other people around the king, uh, that they spoiled more than what they desired. It was something like, I want them to spoil it only to a certain extent, because there are two. two poles. One, king being very competent that he will not listen to you. Other, being king being so incompetent that he will not listen to you. So both of them are our problems, right? So he was so sad, and he was discussing with these people, and they were also probably feeling guilty that we may also have some uh, problem, or we were also contributing to their incompetence, right? At that point in time, he asked the people to, you know find a solution for this. And when they were finding a solution, there was this guy called Sumati, I think. Now, Sumati was one who was talking about this ashram nearby, which was run by a uh, big sage called Vishnu Sharma. And he knew everything, is what they told, right? So I think we should definitely talk about him, and we should definitely bring him and see what can he do, because it seems that Sumati had heard a lot about him. Now Vishnu Sharma, you know being summoned by the king, he came and then said that, see, and king was so desperate that he said that if you make any one of them competent, I don't want all of them to be incompetent, all of them to be competent. I want just one person to be competent enough, and I will give you 500 villages to rule. You can be the king of those villages. Vishnu Sharma came, and he was not happy with that offer, because he said that, see, I don't sell my education. I don't sell my shastras. But I am promising you this, and I am writing this on a wall, that I am going to make your sons, in 6 months, I am going to make them greatest, most competent princes, most competent people. And I will ensure that they know everything about Rajaniti, Kutaniti, all these nitis, and they can rule this world. I'm telling you. And I'm like, I'm 80 years old. I don't want any money. I don't want anything to be, uh, you know, I don't want anything. I just want to ensure that in coming generations, the kings are competent enough, right? So, so after listening to that promise, king was like, am I listening correctly? What nonsense this old man is talking about? I mean, 6 months. It's been like 16 years I have seen these people, and these people have not become. These people have become nothing, and he's talking about 6 months. But still, because king was desperate, they had to give a benefit of doubt. Now, again, Vishnu Sharma took their three sons and taught them something called Panchatantra. And here comes the greatness of Panchatantra, because I'll tell you, you have most incompetent people who are not interested to read anything, not interested to understand anything, not interested to probably, you know, learn anything. They don't want to do anything. But what was the weapon which Vishnu Sharma was having? Vishnu Sharma was having a weapon of string of stories which literally instilled common sense in them, different nitis, how to behave with people, how to ensure, how to manipulate people, very importantly, how to ensure that you are saved from the manipulative people, how to ensure that in different difficult situations you have that presence of mind, right? So all that was said and done, and in 6 months it was told that they became very competent. And and this is the promise which Vishnu Sharma made, that adhiteya idam nityam niti shastram shrunoti cha na parabhava mapnoti kshakratapi kadachana. That means, if someone learns this Niti Shastra and understands this, he is not never ever going to get defeated by anyone. And that someone can be even the Lord of Heaven, Indra. chakra. Now, context of chakra, that is very important. I mean, he could have very well said that probably it could have been someone like Chanakya or someone, I don't know, like anyone else. But why chakra? Now, chakra is Indra, and he is a character with different shades. He is, I mean, whatever imagination you have, like it's heaven and heavens. He's sitting on the throne of heaven. He's king of gods, and whatever he does, but he has a very powerful position with responsibility, and he has to be master of everyone. So he should be in a position to either touch your feet and get his way through, or hold your neck and get his way through. So nobody can be as great as king as Chakra or Indra, right? So Chakra is Indra. So, and there Panchatantra, he says that this is a book. If someone really learns it, and someone does not trivialize this as a cock and bull story, he is going to get his way through and become uh, most important king. Now, most competent king, or most competent politician for that matter. Like, you have to be manipulative when you are a politician, right? So that's something which struck me when I read this book, because you are saying that through cock and bull stories, let's say, you are ensuring that I become so intelligent, so instilled with common sense, so instilled with these different, you know, term called politics, let's say, like politics, right? That you can rule anything and everything in this world, and that's very important. And current times, I would say that everyone is a king because we are in a democracy, right? Now, democracy all the more needs these things, because democracy is even more complicated than monarchy. And everywhere we have democracy, right? In the corporate culture, we have a democracy. I mean, we may not have democracy, but at least you have some places where you have these situations. Your manager is your king. You have to manipulate him. In the similar manner, manager has to manipulate their subordinates, right? So get his way through, right? So by hook or crook, you have to get your way through, and you have to live a life where you can make maximum out of it. And that's where Panchatantra comes into picture. So with this, so with this, I want to end this discourse, and watch out for our next episode, which would talk about the first chapter of Panchatantra. Out of 5 tantras, we have first tantra called Mitra Bheda. And believe me, the story is going to be as interesting as possible. So thank you so much. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.